Let's start by talking about Spa-Francorchamps. How excited are you to be racing here? Do you have a favourite section of the racetrack? What's the bit that puts the biggest smile on your faces? George, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, of course. I think every driver always really looks forward to racing at Spa. Obviously, it's going to be an emotional weekend following, the tragic incidents of last year, which sort of definitely overshadows your excitement of driving what is one of the best circuits on the calendar. But nevertheless, we'll be going out there racing in Antoine's honour, and I'll be driving as quick as I can to put on a show for him, and as we always do.
Obviously ownership has now passed out of the family, but would you like to see sort of management stay within the family, with Claire? And, obviously the family has been, it's been a family-run team for so long. They understand the sport. What are your thoughts on that, please? Thank you.
Yeah, I think, again, like I say, it's I've not given it too much thought. Obviously, the Williams family has been a huge part of Formula One. I think the most important thing with this change of ownership is the name, and that side of things will be continuing, which I think is very important. Obviously, the Williams family would not have sold to somebody who they didn't believe would be beneficial for the team moving forward, and I'm very pleased that they've come to that decision, and because they believe that is the best for the future of the team. And like I said, the culture will not be changing from the historic side. Keeping the name of the team is very important as well for us drivers and the people back at base.
With the changes that are planned, how much more confident and comfortable do you feel with Haas moving forward, thinking that it might be possible to once again sort of fight at the front of that midfield and maybe even a bit higher up?
I think it's very exciting, and I think for a team like Haas, who have been operating in that window with budgets, in all its time in Formula One, that's going to be an advantage for us. So there's a couple of other teams that would have operated on those kind of budgets as well, but surely the big teams are going to be pulled backwards. I don't see how they wouldn't. I'm not saying that it will be completely level. We'll see. Of course, I'm hoping that it will as a Haas driver, but I think it's hugely exciting, and I think it's very good for Formula One as well. And I think a lot of the feedback I hear from people watching Formula One is that they would love to see more level playing field.
Do you want to continue to race in Formula One next year?
I haven't decided yet, so.
As perhaps a follow-up to that, we've had a question in, Kimi, from Frankie Mao at Formula Vision, and he says, obviously you still love driving a Formula One car, but do you sometimes think that a veteran should give an opportunity to the next generation, as was the case 18 years ago when Mika Häkkinen left so that you could join McLaren?
I doubt that he left just for me, so I'm pretty sure it was he had other things in his mind than what happens to me. I had a 3-year contract anyhow in Sauber, so really it's I don't think it's very, people maybe look at it that way, oh yeah, he just purely left for being a nice guy and giving me the position, but it just doesn't work like that, and I don't, honestly, my decision is based on what I feel like is right for me and nothing to do with if it helps on somebody or not. Honestly, it's not a sport that if you want to do it, fine, do it, but that's not how I make my decisions.
The team has traditionally gone very well at Spa, but is this weekend viewed as a total reset because of the new car concept? Checo, perhaps we could start with you.
Not really, because I think in part we got a historic base on how we develop our cars, although we've changed quite a bit the concept and so on. The fundamentals are still there, so I definitely think that this circuit it's been one of our best in the past, and I don't see why it should be any different with this new car.
Thank you. Lance, anything you can add?
Yeah, I mean, it's I think it's going to be a unpredictable weekend. On paper, I do think that we should be quick here. I think we have a car that suits this track, but looking at the forecast, there's a bit of rain around, so anything can happen. We just have to be ready to tackle all conditions.
Antoine was your roommate when you were a student. What kind of memories do you have from him at that time?
Well, I have thousands of memories from Antoine, and I was lucky to grow with him. So from my first season in karting when I was 9, I started to race against him. And then from the age of 13, we both decided to leave our homes to go in that school that the federation sort of built for us for drivers. And we were only 3 French drivers to make the move. And there was Antoine, another French driver, and myself. And from the age of 13 till I was 18, I spent basically from 7:30 breakfast in the morning till 10 p.m. in the evening, each single day together. So we're in the same classes, we were training together, we were racing together. So it's difficult to pick only one. But I mean, the competition, there was consistent competition, whether when we were in the class, when we were training together. If he was doing 15 push-ups, I will do 16, then he will try 17, and then if we will play PlayStation, we will spend hours on it just to beat the time of each other on Gran Turismo or Formula 1 game. And then, we were with also a couple of other drivers from the age of 15, 16, 17, and there are a lot of things I can't say on TV, but I have fantastic memories, and we had some really, really good times, especially in Budapest, but only my friends can remember that one. And he was a very smart guy, very dedicated in everything he was doing, and that's why I had a huge respect for him. Yeah.
What makes Spa special?
I guess it's the longest, track on the calendar. First of all, it's just impressive when you do already the track walk, you already feel that this track has such a, a size to it. It's very large. The corners are very flowing one to another, and every corner is quite legendary in a way. Of course, now Rouge on the dry in a fun car is not really a corner, but on the wet it's still a very challenging corner. And the middle sector, all those corners, the speed you carry through those corners, especially with the modern Formula 1 cars, they're impressive. And it just feels cool. You feel all this, the speed on the straight, the speed in the corners, everything needs to be, perfect. Also in terms of how setting up the car here, it needs to be found the right compromise with everything, and you need to feel as a driver, on Friday, make right calls. What you're comfortable with, what you're not comfortable with here is more important than ever, And always racing. I remember. Always spectacular races, very long straights, so you can go behind each other and try to battle each other on the straight end of the long straight, and it's quite cool. It's really cool.
Daniel, the car proved to be pretty quick in Silverstone. The driver was not too shabby either, but this potential somehow evaporated in Spain. Why is that? And what gives you confidence that the car is back to full steam in Belgium?
Yeah, we did some analysis after Spain because we I guess expected to keep at least the top 10 running going, and after Friday we were a top 5 car in practice, and we thought Q3 would be much more easier of achieving, and in the end we didn't. It was obviously very close, but we missed out. So there's a few things we saw. I think just some simple ones on setup. Through qualifying, which when I say that, you're talking even just changing the front wing a little bit, the angle, I think could have even these little things could have given us a bit more lap time, but we missed it at the time. And when I say we, I don't mean not putting everything on the team. I missed it as well. The conditions did change a little bit. I think Saturday was quite a lot more windy from what I remember, but yeah, small margins, but they obviously proved to be pretty costly. And I think as well, Barcelona is a track we all know so well. teams, engineers, drivers, like we all have such a good understanding that, yeah, you need to have everything pretty much spot on, otherwise you're going to miss out. So I don't think it was anything fundamental in the end. But yeah, I think just one of those little ones which wasn't perfect, but we're going to come here in Monza, tracks we qualified 6th and 5th last year. So I didn't start 6th here because we had, I think, a penalty. But yeah, we got speed and expect to show it again.
What lessons from Barcelona can be brought here in Belgium?
Lessons, not that many. We just know we obviously had an engine change on Saturday morning, which helped quite a lot to solve all the issues that we were having prior to that weekend. And it helped us to put a very strong weekend together from FP3 to quali into the race and get finally the amount of points that we deserved, And yeah, it's been a frustrating start to the season for me, but hopefully Barcelona is a bit of a turning point in the season and we can now start getting everything together more often.
Well, how confident are you coming into this Belgian Grand Prix weekend?
I'm fairly confident. First of all, I love Spa. I love this circuit. I've had some good success in the past before Formula One. But since I've arrived to Formula One, I think there's been 2 or 3 occasions that I haven't even started the race. And not a lot of points. So I'm keen to change that statistic because prior to Formula One, it was my favorite circuit and the place where I had won the most and done all the most pole positions of my career. But I don't know why in Formula One it's never quite worked for me. So hopefully this is a new chance to turn that stat around.
Red Bull believed they could challenge Mercedes for the title this year, but have started another year behind. Why has that happened? And how much has it affected your confidence that you'll be able to win the championship with Red Bull Honda?
Well, why? It's always difficult to say why. I mean, everybody's doing their very best. So, but yeah, clearly they had a very good winter, Mercedes, and they also found a lot of performance out of their engines. So, yeah, that meant we were a bit behind, and yeah, we were just trying to do the best we can. I mean, everybody is, of course, and yeah, we'll see, of course, what the rest of the season will bring. But yeah, they are still, of course, quite far ahead. But we don't give up. I think that's the mentality of the team. We will always keep fighting and go for every opportunity we have. And I do believe in it. Of course, for next year as well, it might get a bit complicated because, of course, the rules are still the same and you're not allowed to change a lot on the cars. But then, of course, there are new rules coming in and it's a new opportunity for everyone.
We saw a dogged drive from you in Spain 2 weeks ago to 7th place. Given the pace of the car and the strategy you were on, how satisfying was that result? And how was the result received within the team?
Well, obviously, I think it was, given where we were for the majority of the race, we took a gamble and took that risk and it paid off. But 7th place is obviously not what I'm aiming for and not what the team is aiming for. So it wasn't like, the champagne bottles popped after the race. We had obviously the issue on Charles' side with the car retiring. For me, it was damage limitation. Obviously, it is a very tight midfield pack. And as I said, we were probably in the middle of it. And with that strategy move, conserving the tires, etc., we're able to push a little bit more and get some points at least, but certainly not a high after the race. I think we were content with what we did, taking the risk and that it paid off. But yeah, certainly we are aiming for more. But in these times, it's obviously difficult for us. Once you find yourself in that pack, it can be anything between, let's say, 5th to 12th, 13th, depending on how the race goes.
Hello, a question for Charles. We heard after the last race that you completed the last few laps before you retired without the seatbelts on. Can you just explain exactly what that meant? Did you really have no seatbelts on at all? And were you reprimanded at all by the FIA? Because obviously that seems like quite a dangerous thing to do. And what was going through your mind if that was the case?
Yeah, so I unbuckled myself once I knew that there was a problem with the engine. I didn't thought I would go again. And then I re-put them on the way to go again on the track. I did one slow lap, especially to know whether the engine was working properly again or not. And then on the second lap, when I started to push, I realized that one of the 4 buckles that we have as a seatbelt was not on. So I told it to the team, and I stopped straight away.
To Lewis, do you look at Max and Red Bull as genuine candidates, or are they just people who are sniping for the odd result if you slip up? And to Valtteri, you cut a pretty dejected figure after the Spanish Grand Prix, but you said you'd probably be able to find the spirit to bounce back here. How are you feeling, and how ready are you to attack this weekend?
Valtteri, can we start with you, please?
Yeah, it was a disappointing weekend, and obviously there was a few races that it just didn't go in my way, and yeah, far from what the goal was. So of course, it's disappointing when you have all in, for the sport and to try and achieve your goals. But the most important thing is always to bounce back, to reset, and find that right mindset. And definitely had some bit of a disconnect again as we had a weekend off, so managed to recharge, and I'm ready to be here again and trying to be at my best level. So yeah, I'm in good spirit, and looking forward to spend tomorrow, my birthday, on track in one of the best tracks in the world, probably the best racing car in the world. So things are good.
Thanks, Valtteri. Lewis, Red Bull Racing.
Well, I mean, I think if you take the first race away with Max having the DNF, I think if you look at the results, would be very, very close in points still. So in my mind, they are, and obviously they've had very strong results, and they're getting closer in races. Maybe in qualifying we do have the edge, but say when it comes to the race, we're generally a lot closer. So we're not even halfway through the season. And so I absolutely keep my eye on them. I think they still are a title runner, and so we need to stay on our toes.